Okay, I need everyone listening to pause for a second because we live in a world where engineers can build bionic arms that work with muscle sensors, in some cases even your thoughts. And doctors can attach a donor hand to a patient's body so that that patient can readopt the hand as their own. We could do that now. Welcome back to Tilly Talks Tech. My name is Tilly Lockie, and on this podcast we talk about the future and the technology that's quietly changing our lives. Today's episode is going to be such a good one. It's kind of investigative because my guest and I represent two completely different futures. Biology, hand transplants, versus bionics, prosthetic hands. But what does that mean? What are the pros and cons of both? And between biology and bionics, what ultimately wins? My guest today is Kim Smith, who is an incredible lady, and she recently underwent a hand transplant surgery. She went viral on TikTok about it recently, and we're gonna hear all about it right now on the podcast. Kim, welcome to Tilly Talks Tech. I'm so excited to talk to you. Heard about your story for a good while, and you've took it one step further, and you've got a hand transplant now, which is super interesting. I actually saw you on TikTok talking about it, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, I have to catch up with Kim. Let's get her on the podcast. So first of all, how are you doing? How are you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I'm doing really, really well. Lots of hospital appointments for blood tests now. I'm kind of on immune suppressants because of the hand transplant, and lots of physio and everything, getting the hand moving. But the hand's doing absolutely brilliantly. You know, the fingers are going out quite straight now, and yeah, it's moving really, really well. I'm doing lots of exercises every single day.
That's so cool to see. And this is the first time I've ever seen like an actual hand transplant like in person. So it's super interesting. Yeah, because obviously as an amputee, you know, you're always on the lookout for just general technological advancements, you know. And I remember the first time I heard about hand transplants, I'm not sure when it was. I think I was about like, I was still in primary school, so I would have been quite young, and it just like absolutely blew my mind. Like the idea that you can attach a hand, you know, and your body can adopt it and genuinely like replace that hand that you've lost, just is absolutely crazy to me. For anybody who doesn't know your story, you've had a crazy one. Do you want to tell us, you know, your story and how you became an amputee?
Yeah, so I was in Spain, and I started to feel quite unwell. I didn't have a clue what was going on, but I started to suspect maybe I'd got a urine infection because I'd got pain in my left kidney area. I went to the local hospital. I said to them, dolor aquí, which means pain here. They sent me home after an x-ray, just saying nothing's broken. The next day we went to the doctors, and the doctor said, he confirmed it because I'd done a screenshot on a translation app that said I think I've got a urine infection, and he confirmed it was a urine infection. Gave me a prescription for antibiotics. We went to the chemist to get them, and they said we don't have any in stock. Come back tomorrow.
Oh God.
So I went home. I woke up at 4 a.m, and I said to my husband, I think I'm dying. I need to go to hospital now. And then I was almost immediately put into an induced coma. So I was 6 weeks in a coma in Spain before my travel insurance agreed to fly me home. I then spent a further 3 weeks in the UK in a coma. I was then transferred to another hospital, and they did all 4 amputations in one go. They took me down to do one leg, but everything was going really well that they managed to do all 4, which was great. And then I had to recover there for 3 months, and then I had to go to Roehampton to the Queen Mary's Hospital to do rehab. Because I'd been laid on my back for so many months, I had no idea how to sit up or to move or do anything, and had to have lots of rehab to learn how to do it all again. And then about a year after I came out of hospital, a friend of mine came on Facebook and was on the news and everything else that she'd had a hand transplant. And I was like, oh no, I couldn't do that. There's no way I could do that.
Really?
My daughter tried to pass me something. Well, when you're in a wheelchair, that's as far as I could go with 2 arms. And I put my arm down and I went, well, if I had a hand, I could take that from you. And she went, there's your answer, Mum. And I'm like, And it's got me thinking, you know.
Yeah.
Then messaged Core And I said to her, can we have a face talk to talk, So she said, yeah, no problem. And we arranged it and we had a chat. And I asked her, do you regret it? What are the benefits? What do you think about it? And she was so all for it that it made me like really want it even more. And I was like, that's it. I definitely got to get my doctor to refer me. So she referred me up to the Leeds General Infirmary, which is the only hospital in the country that does hand transplants, and saw Professor K and the team. 18 months, I went on the waiting list. And it took almost 4 years for me to get my hand. But honestly, that was so worth the wait because this hand is perfect. It's just amazing. I did have both. They did a double hand transplant, but sadly, I got really poorly after surgery. And I was quite critical for a while. And this one, the right one, clotted, and so unfortunately had to be amputated. So that was sad. That was sad. I think I was more upset that for her to have given it up and it not worked for me on that one. But at least I'd got one, and I said, well, one's better than nothing. At the end of the day, I'm doing loads now with my left hand. It's like my brain just knows, and I just do it left-handed automatically. It's just amazing. And I was right-handed before.
Really?
So it's absolutely incredible. I can write, although it's very scruffy, but I have to hold it in like a clenched fist and write. I expect you do as well with your hero arm.
I mean, well, we have a pen grip now. So you had the Hero Arm last, right? So this is the Hero Pro, where the thumb's mechanical as well. So you see the thumb move. So we actually hold pens usually in like this thumb grip now, which works a bit better. But yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah. So the process of getting a hand transplant, what is that like? Like, how many appointments do you have to get like fitted? Is it very similar to getting a prosthetic arm, or is it completely different?
No, completely different. No. So with the process for a hand transplant, first of all, you get the referral. You then go up and meet the team, and you go in a room, and it's quite overpowering at first, because you walk in and there's about 20 people sat in there. Some of the other doctors will come over and they'll feel your arms and feel the muscles where they are. And so you have these team meetings every 3 months. Sometimes when you're there, you have a blood test. Once I was actually filmed what I could do with my stumps, and then I was told that that's because afterwards, once the hand's moving well, they will film me again so they can see the difference, how much a hand has improved from stumps doing it. So, I'm waiting on that one. That's probably a while down the line yet. They'll want the hand working better than it is currently to be able to do that. So it took a year of all these appointments. Oh, you see a psychologist, you have to have meetings with a psychologist. That was all done on Zoom. Yeah, it was quite a long-winded process to be accepted. And then right at the end, they thought there might be a problem with my kidneys. I had to go and have special dye put through me and all these different scans.
So they look at like all the rest of your body. It's not just a case of, like in prosthetics, if you're like 6 inches long or whatever, then you can fit it. It's very much like your whole body and your mind.
Also, they ask what size you want. So they would try to match me with someone that was my original height of 5'2". Sometimes they would phone me, we've got a patient that's 5'6", but we think the hand might be okay. And I was like, well, if you think it's okay. And I kind of half expected that maybe the hand would be a bit bigger than my previous hand anyway, because my hands were tiny. And then it was colour. So it's the colour. They then ask you what colour you would accept. So I went from quite a pale skin up to a reasonably dark, but not ever so dark, because I am quite pale. So I didn't want to go sort of too dark and it looks silly. Obviously, you will know, people stare at you when you don't have limbs. And having all 4 gone, most of the time sat in a wheelchair, people will go, oh, and they stare at me like I'm a freak. And whereas obviously if I was wearing my hero arm, they would think I was cool, got a bionic arm. Wow. And then that's something else to talk about. It's been a hard journey from losing my limbs, but I just picked myself up, got on with life, and that's it. And I'm just trying to raise awareness of what happened to me so that other people understand what sepsis is, and now about organ donation and including hands in that.
So what you were saying that they found a match. What does it take to like have a match?
It's the immunology within the blood. So they would already know that she was the right blood type or right blood group. So they know that. They know that she's the right size, colour, everything else to fit my hand, you know, my body, that it wouldn't be too big. Actually, I think Professor K thought this was too big for me. It is slightly bigger than my previous hand, but I've only gone up 2 ring sizes, so it's not huge to what I was. But I just, as soon as I saw it, I just loved it. It's just so perfect. So yeah, they test the immunology within the blood, and it's to see whether those 2 bloods are the same. They have to be the same, and they're not always the same. So that's why I had so many.
I know what it's like to like when you're having an operation or a surgery or whatever, you go to sleep and you know you're going to wake up different somehow. Like I remember when I went to sleep to get my leg operation and woke up with like an external fixator on my leg. And like that moment when you wake up is like, whoa, because your body's, you know, your body's different to how you knew it. How was that for you going to sleep? I imagine they put you to sleep. Otherwise that would be pretty traumatic. They put you to sleep and then you have no hands and you wake up and you've got these hands. How was that moment for you?
I woke up and saw them both, and I remember waking up and seeing Professor K and another doctor with him, and they both looked quite worried, and they said, "You have been having us extremely worried. You've been very unwell. You've been asleep for 3 days." And I went, "Really?" Oh, I said, "I'm really sorry." And then the doctor said to me, "Look at this beard. I didn't have any grey hair before you had your surgery. Now look at it. I've got loads of grey." And I felt really bad. I was like, "I'm so sorry." Yeah, I had them really worried apparently. So yeah, and then obviously he kind of looked at my hands, and then he would come in and you can only, I can't even move it that much, just a tiny little bit. It's just a tap, like tiny bit at first, because they don't want you to do it too much because of the tendons and nerves and everything just being attached. If you were to move them too much straight away, it could rip them apart. So they didn't want you to kind of move it too much, but gradually they'd get me moving a bit more and a bit more, and now I'm like moving it loads, and they're actually amazed at how straight the fingers are going. Most people at my stage now, their fingers are like that. And when you say, "How's your hand doing?" they're like, "Yeah," and that's it. They can't open their fingers like I can. So, and I sit there sometimes and I hold my arm on top of my fingers, and if I count to about 10, often, not always, they will stay straight, and they will stay straight for quite a while.
That's so interesting. So you can like they're like malleable. You can like move them, but you can't like using your own like muscles and nerves and things like that.
Yeah, I can move that first finger a little bit on its own independently now. I can move the thumb in and the fingers, but the fingers don't move independently yet. So if I try to curl, like I'm trying to do the little one, they're all going. So but if I try to move the first finger, it will move a little bit without the others moving. So it's gradually getting there. The thumb moves, but the thumb, it only goes in like that. It won't, I have to keep pushing it down. I'm trying to train that it's got to go down so I can touch the other fingers. Eventually, apparently that takes 6 to 12 months for the thumb to actually engage with the, I guess it's the nerves and tendons and everything to engage to get that to move.
It is so cool to see, and I feel like it's such a niche experience. Like hearing you talk about it, like I'm trying to process it, but at the same time I feel like it's something that only you will understand. Like, you know, like the idea of like trying to move a finger and like they all come down. It must be such a like an interesting adjustment. The fact you have to like train this hand.
I've got some feeling already. I can feel hot and cold, and I can feel sharp. I've also got hypersensitivity, but that's gradually getting better. I can actually rub my stump on my hand now, and it doesn't feel anywhere near so bad. And I'm doing that with quite a bit of pressure. Down the side there is a little bit more sensitive than on the palm, but that's nowhere near as bad as it was in the beginning. So quite a few weeks ago, I was like, oh my God, this hurts. Don't touch my hand, because my carers were putting hand cream on, and I'm like, oh, don't do that. It hurts. It was really painful. But now it's getting better. So gradually I have to keep kind of rubbing it and getting used to that sensitivity in it, you know, but yeah.
And the more you've been able to move it, and the more you've been able to feel through it as well, because that's a brand new experience. Obviously through prosthetics, like, you know, wearing hero arms, you can't feel through it. So that's a very, very different experience. And the more you're going through that sort of progression, does it feel like it's being more like adopted? Like, at what point do you look down and think, that's my hand? Was it like as soon as you woke up, or is it more now that like you're starting to feel things through it? You're like,
no, literally as soon as I woke up. As soon as I woke up and I moved those fingers, it felt like it was my hand, and it was just incredible. It was just absolutely incredible.
The first thing that you sort of got up to then? Because I imagine you couldn't do too much. You're doing like physio and things like that, but what were the people around you sort of reaction, and what are you like looking forward to doing with it?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to getting back to cooking in the kitchen and baking and things. I've just found a recipe that I used to make years ago, a cheesecake, that I've thought, I can do that with my one hand. I will need a little bit of help. There are things that I can do obviously with my stump to support, but when you've got to tip something out and then you've got to scoop it into something, I can tip it out, I can't scoop it in. So I don't know quite how that will work. Obviously if I've got a prosthetic, then the prosthetic would help me. So, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, you got the best of both worlds. You've been half bionic, half like, you know, I guess, what do you call it? And a human hand, but obviously, you know, touched by science and stuff. That's really cool. That's what I find really interesting about like this conversation, is obviously like you're here with a hand transplant, I'm here with a bionic arm, and we both were missing two hands, you know, so it's really interesting to compare the two.
If I've got a prosthetic on one side and the real hand the other, they can assist each other, hopefully.
Yeah, they can work in harmony. It's quite cute. Like I said, I find it really interesting. Like, there's two avenues that we have now to kind of get hands back, right? You can go the technological engineering, bionic hand sort of route, or you can do these now, hand transplant, which is becoming more common. Now you're the 12th person, not too common, but you know, it's getting there, more awareness, things like that. And I don't necessarily think it's like a competition between them at all. Like I said, I think it's like just to have the option and to hear both sort of sides of it is really interesting. I put together a pros and cons list for bionic arms, and I was wondering if you had the same for a hand transplant and we could like compare. Like, for example, for like a pro for a bionic hand, to me, like they can do some weird things that human hands can't. For example, like this one has a 360-degree wrist now, so you can do like flip it all around, you know what I mean? You can connect it
and
to
your hand comes
Bluetooth.
off, doesn't it? And you can move it
Yeah,
on the
the hand comes off. It can like crawl across on its own. That's something, for example, somebody with a normal hand can't do, right?
No.
Another pro is that the hand can't get tired. Like, you're not going to get like arthritis in your hand. However, your arm might get tired when you're carrying it because it's a weight.
So is this.
Really?
Obviously, after not having a hand for almost 8 years, there is a weight. I mean, it's getting lighter now. I'm getting kind of more used to it that I've got it there. But yeah, there is a weight to it compared to not having anything. So I do kind of feel it a bit, but not as much as I did in the beginning. So yeah, there is a weight to it.
Obviously with the bionic hands, you can like slip them on and off, but with a hand transplant, this is your hand for life, and you see that as a positive thing as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd rather have a hand than not have hands.
So in terms of pros and cons then, I suppose the biggest con is sort of the chance of rejection. But like once you've surpassed that, for you, it seems like, you know, the fact that you can feel, the fact that it becomes part of your body, you got no more charging, no batteries.
Yeah, awesome. I just feel so grateful that I'm alive in this day and age where they do such a thing as hand transplants, and that it's actually possible. Because, you know, 13 years ago, it had only just started. Everybody's hand transplant has been a great success, apart from obviously I've lost the right hand. I lost my hand and the guy before me lost his left. You get like a rash on your skin, or you'll get signs. So you're always having to check your skin and make sure there's nothing.
It's still early days, you being only the 12th person, but I feel like genuinely, like down the line, we'll most likely find a way to eliminate cons, all the cons for like both. You know, like the Bionic hands are going to get better and the hand transplants will be a lot smoother. It's interesting to like theorize where we might end up.
Hero arm's already improved. You know, the fact that you can take it off, the fact that your thumb actually moves now and you've got the dexterity to bend the thumb. I couldn't do that. I used to have to push it round. So if I push it at the back, that straightens up, it goes straight. As soon as I let go, it pings, it curls. So if I do it that way, you can, it's funny. It just curls straight away as soon as I take my finger off.
I bet it's quite fun because I love like fidgeting with the hero arm, especially. Like, I feel like it must be fun to like just play around with the fingers and like spring them.
Yeah, well, it's physio for it, so it's getting it moving and it's keeping it active. The first tests they did on me in Leeds after the hand transplant, they did a grip test, and as soon as I'd done it, she went, "Wow, no one at this stage has ever got a reading. You got a reading." I went, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, you got 1.5." And I had to pick up, I don't know if you've done it with prosthetics, where you have to pick up these little bricks and move them across. And I done that, and I think I picked up 24 in a minute. So you wait till she sees now, because I can pick up 2 or 3 in my hand at once, and literally dump.
Hell yeah.
I think I'll be done all of them in less than a minute.
Yeah, this is so cool. Like, you're looking forward to it, to like push it and like test it and just, you know, see what possibilities are there. It's really like, it's like 2 branches of the same future. I feel like me and you talking. I think society loves to like frame this as a competition, like I said, like real hands versus robot hands, which is better. But I feel like sitting here with you, it feels like the wrong question. Like, it's not about what's better, it's about choice, you know what I mean? Like, experimenting and see what works best. And like, as a Bionic hand user, am I ever going to be resentful about cool hand transplants making people's lives better? No. I'm so happy like that people who opt for prosthetics get to have prosthetics that they feel they can express themselves with. I'm so happy that people like you get to, you know, put themselves on that list, get a hand transplant, and just to see how that's opened so many doors for you and see how excited you are about that going forward. Like, it's totally about choice, you know. The future doesn't have one solution, right?
No, not at all. People keep asking me, will you have the right done again? And that's a question that comes up a lot. And in the beginning, I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I want to risk my life again after nearly dying again. I was just like, I don't think so. Recently, I've been thinking maybe I might ask them the question, would they? They might go, no, you're too risky. We're not doing another one. They might say, because it would be from another donor, we can't. I don't know. But I'm also thinking that if the prosthetic helps me enough, why put myself through it? So I want to see if the prosthetic will help me enough so that I don't have to put my life possibly at risk. But if it doesn't help me, then there is that option.
Yeah.
So I never say never.
Yeah, and I guess we'll have to check in with you when you get your prosthetic and like see how you're getting on with like both a hand transplant and a prosthetic arm, because you might be like the first person to do that. I mean, I could be wrong, but that feels pretty like a niche experience, right?
Probably would be the first, because most of the hand transplants have been double hand transplants and they've been successful with both hands. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if one helps me.
We will see. That's so cool. We're nearly finished now.
I'm gonna ask you 2 quick fire questions, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
So first of all is, what do you wish doctors, engineers, or the media understood better about like transplants or just like the options that are available?
I wish people would understand that if you're a donor, you can donate limbs, but you need to tell your family for organs and for limbs that that's your wishes. As for prosthetics, I wish the prosthetic centres would let you choose what you think would be best for you, rather than them telling you what they think would be best. Now, I'm going to be trialling something, but I don't know if it's the best because I'm only trialling that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know which is the best until I trial them all, really. So, yeah, it would be nice to be able to trial them all and see which I think is the best.
Yeah, 100%. And secondly, if someone listening right now is facing that decision or might be facing that decision in the future, what sort of advice would you give to them?
If you feel that it is something you want to do, for me, it was definitely 100% the right decision. And I am so glad that it's finally happened.
Yeah.
So cool. And yeah, literally just explore all crazy tech avenues. Why the heck not? Like,
absolutely.
That's what we're all about on Tilly Talks Tech. It's like we cover everything because there's always so much going on and it's always going to get better. And like I said, again, Kim, I'm actually so happy for you. And I can't wait to see how you get on with a prosthetic, if you want to do that, another hand transplant. But as of now, like, you're killing it. You're in rehab. You're doing amazingly well. So thank you so much for jumping on the podcast and sharing that with me.
You are very welcome. Thank you. It's lovely to talk to you. Take care.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tilly. Bye.
Bye.
That is so interesting just to hear like all the avenues you can go down. Like, yes, I wear Bionics, but this is Tilly Talks Tech. We talk about everything that's happening and there is just so much happening to talk about. As a prosthetic girly, it's really interesting to hear from somebody who didn't necessarily get along with prosthetics and went down that transplant route. But I think the takeaway of that whole conversation is that there's so much out there. As a prosthetic user myself, like, I can't imagine not having bionic hands, and going to get a transplant really doesn't like appeal to me personally, but everybody's different, you know? Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Tilly Talks Tech. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I definitely learned a lot about that whole process. If you did like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend. Let me know who else we need to get on the podcast, and I will see you next time. Bye.